Okay, today we're going to do basket, a woven basket. You're going to need some kind of mold. You're going to need a ruler, probably your roller, the bevel cutter, the scratcher, the knife, nice rib, and something to punch it with. We'll get into that later. I chose a glass Pyrex dish, which of course clay will stick to Pyrex, so I covered it in t-shirt material. I put the t-shirt material together with a rubber band to make it as tight as possible. Turn it upside down on your board and try to get out as many wrinkles as you can. Okay. There's a lot of prep in getting the strips ready, and also how many strips you're going to need. I have, this is about 5.5 by 9.5. So I've chosen to make 5 3/4 inch strips coming this way, the long way, and 9 3/4 inch strips going this way. We'll see how it turns out. The first step, however, is to put a strip around the bottom of your bowl. So you just want to put it on your tabletop, which is, of course, a wear board. So you want to touch it down, have it going down to there. And I measured this. This is another tool that would be handy. I measured how much clay I needed. It was 34 inches. And I really didn't want to make a strip that was 34 inches long. Kind of hard to handle, kind of hard to move. So I made 2 strips, and I will have to put them together. So I took these strips and beveled them. And this just happens to be beveled the right way. So I'm going to splice these 2 strips right here. I've already beveled that one. And now I'm slipping them. Oh, this one is beveled, but looks a little bit shallow on the bevel. I'm going to take a little bit more out. Okay. Scratch it and slip it. And put those 2 together so that it will look like one. So we'll, there we go. The inside doesn't matter. It won't show, I mean, the part that you can see, this inside will matter. You'll see that on the finished pot, so you want to make sure that's nice. And so I'm going to tuck this around to where I need it spliced over here. And I've got one end beveled with the outer layer long. So I'm going to make the inner layer long. Guess at that. And give it a try. Just about right. And I think it's a tiny bit long, but my scratching will also make it a little shorter. So I'm going to take that scratch tool, scratch and slip. So this will be the inside top of your basket. If you can get a rib in there, it would be good to make it as smooth as possible with a rib. Okay, and now I've got one, I made this 1 inch thick, this strip, and I'm going to lay my pieces of the basket on top of it. So I'm going to start, I measured how long the long strip should be, giving enough to cover the pot and enough to come down on the sides. So those pieces are 12 inches long. The other pieces, strips, these are all strips, will be 16 inches long. So I have the 5 strips here that are 16 inches long. I've made them 3/4. You can see them here. I've cut them 3/4 inch wide. If I take my ruler, I made them a little extra long. The tape, my tape measure is 16, so I'm just going to cut this off. And I'm going to take my first one, and since I've got 5 going this way, I will have 1 in the middle. My clay really does like a little moisture to stick together. Your clay might not need that little bit of water or slip. I'm not going to scratch and slip these to put them together, but I think I will be using a little bit of water. So I got a little scant here. It doesn't really go down to the board, but it doesn't have to. It just has to go down to this, the middle of this inch top of the bowl. So I'm going to see if that's positioned. I haven't, I shouldn't have actually put the water on yet. So I'm going to take another one and just position it. Leave about 1/4 inch. Okay. And another one. Leave about 1/4 inch. I think I'll do a little weaving before I do put the other ones on. So I have some strips that are 12 inches long. Actually, they're a little bit longer than that, but okay, so I've got 9 going this way. So again, I'll have 1 in the middle. So I visually try to put 1 in the middle and bring it down on both sides. Okay, and I think it would be easier for purposes of this video if I had this on a banding wheel, and it would be easier to work with too. So I'm going to get my banding wheel. My whole banding wheel, my whole tab wear board on the banding wheel. Okay, to start the weaving, I'm going to put this on top of that one and underneath these 2. So I'm going to lift this up and put it underneath that one. And when I lift it up, I'm going to push it down to the mold and put this back on. So I'm going to pick it up, push that down to the mold, and lay it back down. So I've got, I'm making it a little bit secure by putting some pressure on those strips. So if I were to take another crosswise strip, position it, okay, then it would go on top of this, but under this one. So I'm going to roll this one back, pick this one up, and lay it down. And when I lay it down, I'm going to press on this one and press on these. So they're just really getting into that woven shape. I'll do the same thing over here. So this one, the new piece, position it. And it's gonna go on top of this one. I mean, underneath. It's already on top of that. It's gonna go underneath this. You kind of lay them both back to get your positioning, and then press them down. I can go ahead and do all 5 this way. It doesn't really matter. I think I'll go ahead and do that just for the positioning, making sure I have the 5 that are going to go this way pretty much to the end of the form. That one looks pretty good. And that one too. And let it hang down on the board. Okay, so these are all the pieces that are going to go this way. I'm going to go ahead and weave them in. Ooh, I got that one a little whopper jawed, and I got it that way by turning the banding wheel. I might just try and smooth it out a little bit with a little bit of water. Okay, so this one would go underneath and on top of the middle one. So I'm going to take the middle one and pull it back, put this one down, and push that one down. Push that down, push that down. This one goes on top of this one. Roll it back so I can lift that one up, lift that one up, push it down. Push it down on both sides. So I'm getting a woven picture you can see there. And I think what I'm going to do is stop the camera and come back when I've got that almost all the way done. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, I've done a couple more rows. In fact, I've done all the rows I think I need to do. And I ended up with 8 going this way rather than 9. So it's not quite centered, but that's the way it is. So these can now come down to this band at the top. So I'm going to press it a little bit, and the next step is to cut them off, cut off each one halfway between the top and the bottom of the band that is on here. So you want to cut through there, but not through the 1-inch band. So that's all throwaway, but this is halfway down, halfway down. And I don't think that this really needs slip. Certainly I'm not going to scratch and slip, but I could put on a little slip, and I want to press it not only down, but also make this a little bit, press it sideways. So with a good sharp knife, we should be able to go through several of those at a time. And I'll just put a little bit of slip under there and press down and to the side. I'm pressing 1 or 2 or 3 times for each strip. So I'll do that all the way around. And I'll want to make sure, here you can see that this one's crooked. I'll want to be kind of try and straighten them up as I go around so they come up straight to that 1-inch band. It's a lot easier to make something like this if you have an extruder, which means you don't have to cut each one of these strips. the extruder is, will cut out the clay for you. So the church does not have an extruder. You can buy small ones that you work by hand, or there are big ones that fit on the wall that will really push out a lot of clay into a strip shape or, you know, a coil shape, whatever it is that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of that. After that, and I don't really think you need to probably watch me doing that all the way around, but the next step after this one is to put, and I think I'll just show it and then maybe come back and show you when it's a little bit closer that I can actually do it. I'll pause the video again. But so you can see that I've gotten some fingernail marks in these strips here. Of course, if it's within this inch strip, it's not going to show, so I don't need to worry about it. If it is up here where I can see it, I don't know if you can see that fingernail mark, but I would want to clean that up now before I put this strip on top. Okay. So I'm going to pause again for a minute. Okay, I've connected my weaving lines all the way around, and I cleaned up a few scratches best I could. I used a little bit of a wet sponge on some of them, and I made sure there weren't any crumbs on the bottom of the bowl. So now I'm going to take my long strips. I hope I can get away with just 2 of them. But for this, the strip's going to go on this outside here. So I am definitely going to scratch and slip these together just to make it. And actually, I might put a little line in here as well. I want the 2 pieces to mold together. That's really going to be the strength of this bowl, is those 2 top rims glued together with the slip or water. So I'm going around and scratching and slip, and then I'll be slipping. The clay is kind of the same wetness, so it's not like I'm trying to put a dry piece next to a wet piece. So this is just really extra insurance to get this scratch and slip here. I suppose you could do it without it. Okay, so I've done that all the way around. I have not put slip on my 1-inch piece that goes on here, but I will. That'll be the next step after I get slip on here. And I'm just gonna be kind of generous with it for the same reasons I just talked about. I don't really want it to ooze out. That might be kind of a extra cleanup job I'm not looking forward to, but we'll see. Hopefully it won't ooze out too much. I think the thing to look for is a mold with straight up and down sides. This one does not. It has, you know, kind of slanted sides, you can see. So that 1-inch piece across the top is going to be slanted. Okay, I have my first piece, and I'm going to give it a little slip and decide which is the best side that I want out. And see, it's not cut all the way through. Need to find my knife. This was extra long. I actually cut it with a yardstick, using a yardstick rather than a ruler. Okay, I think that underside is better. So I'm going to put slip on this side. I have not beveled the edges on this yet. And I'm not, you might notice I'm not scratching it either, I guess. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm going to lay it right against the wear board. So it'll be even on the bottom, which eventually, of course, will be the top of the bowl. Okay, so I'm going to do that other piece without you being here. But I would at this point, so I would also put that other one on. And I would also clean up my wear board if it has slip on it. And use my roller to mush those two together. I just got a line in my I don't know if your rollers go all the way to the table or not. That would be a good thing to watch out for. You don't really want to get a line next to the wear board. But I got one by using that roller. And I am going to get it because it doesn't come all the way to the table. So instead of the roller, it might be good to use a rib that is shaped like this, has the right angle there. You could even use a stiff piece of paper or your fingers, you know. I mean, you just want to push. Hope you can see this corner real well. There we go. You want to push these two together. So you're pushing that 1-inch and the 1-inch. And you can see how the slip does come up. But that slip won't be hard to get rid of. I would go back later after I pushed it all the way around and just use a brush to take care of that slip that came up so that it doesn't show. So here I've got these two coming together, and I'll use a brush to take off a little bit of that slip. Okay. The bottom of the pot probably does need to be smoothed a little bit. You could go over it with a roller. You could tap it with your hand. You could put a wear board on top of it and tap that good. Just want to make sure there's no corners sticking up, and that when you put it on a table, it's going to be fairly flat. So just make sure there's not any sticking up. And this would be the last step until it's a little bit drier. So, and when it's drier, we're going to do two things. Well, a couple things. We're going to add handles, and we're going to look at the top of this and by moving it off of the wear board. So if I finish this around, the one thing that I can still do when it's on the wear board is, if I want to, I can make an impression as if that band is actually stapled or pushed onto the basket. So I could kind of make, this is any kind of stamp you want. Could be round, could be anything. It gives it a little more of a basket look. And it does help hold those two pieces together that are sandwiching in the layers. Okay, so that would be that step. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with putting it around the rest of this side, and we'll pick up there when we have class. Thank you. Bye.